What's up, guys? Welcome back. Had something stewing. 2 weeks ago, we took a family vacation, went to Florida. Had a nice little trip to the beach. And there were some topics of the conversation between it was me and my wife, my oldest stepdaughter and our daughter together. We all went to Florida. And so, of course, my channel here, I try to give automotive advice, car advice, tips, tricks, that sort of thing. But I also like to give a little bit of financial advice, as far as I'm not a financial advisor, but like ways to save money. And that's really why I wanted to help people in their car hunt, to not spend on the name brand stuff or the top of the line. Get something that's going to be reliable, so you're not spending a ton of money on repairs constantly, that sort of thing, right? So I know that a lot of things in life, and there's been this topic thrown around, and I hear it from the younger generation. And I'll mention, like, my oldest stepdaughter, she's 24. And so that generation tosses around the idea of, oh, we can't afford housing, we can't afford this, or we'll never be able to do that. And they want to throw around the comparison of, like, us growing up, or even the previous generation before us, like, oh, back when houses were 50 cents and whatever. And the thing about that is, this younger generation wants to throw out a wage discrepancy, right? They're saying, oh, the wage discrepancy. Reality is, the wage discrepancy is not that big when you look at some of the things that the previous generations didn't have that's available today. That is a big distraction for the younger generation, that was created out of convenience. And obviously it was someone else's idea to create this industry and this business to make money. But because we are in a free capitalist economy in society, that it's good to create an idea, start your own company, do a business, that sort of thing, because you have the potential to make more money owning your own business or doing your own thing than working for someone else. So you leverage more of your time for dollar ratio. That being said, so this generation wants to compare to, like, my generation when we were young, growing up and started out working, and even the previous generation before us that was working, and they're like, well, how did one working, we'll just say for argument purposes or just for hypothetical purposes, one man provide a home and a life and take vacations on one income? Well, let me explain this best way possible. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even early 80s, there wasn't Starbucks. Starbucks wasn't a thing. $5 and $7 coffees wasn't a thing. And I know coffee is kind of a touchy subject from, like, YouTube financial things, and we'll get into that. But Starbucks didn't exist. A lot of the restaurants that are available today didn't exist back then. There was no Qdoba, there was no Chipotle, there wasn't 50 Blue Million sandwich shops. It was pretty much depend on your region. Like, if you lived in New Jersey or New York, you had your local mom and pop's deli that's been around for decades and centuries. But outside of that, you might have Subway, right? Or you bought groceries and you made your sandwich at home. So the point being, yeah, people worked and they bought a home and they maybe had a car or two in the driveway. But back then, like, families only had one TV in the house, right? Maybe one, maybe two. They might have had the old floor model TV and the newer, smaller, fit in a cabinet TV, right? And if they were really, really lucky, they had, or really, really wealthy, they might have had a little 10-inch TV on the counter in their kitchen, a little black and white TV to catch the news in the morning or something while they're spreading butter on their toast. But that was it, right? So everybody had to come together on what shows was going to be watched, or, you know, if dad and mom was watching I Love Lucy, well, then the kids were out playing or doing something. You know, it was that kind of life. That's just the way life was. There wasn't a lot of extras available that are available now. And so it was easy to go to work, budget your mortgage, save up enough money to go buy you a car. And so nowadays, you got so many people, influencers, YouTubers. I guess I'm on YouTube, so I guess I qualify. But I'm not creating a video every 2 weeks with a McLaren or a Ferrari or something like that. And so with social media nowadays being so big, and you got these influencers that are essentially out here financing cars to make content to get paid. So they've figured out a way to create a business out of nothing, or to take advantage of a depreciating asset by using it as content and all the tax benefits of that. Good for them. Good for them. But this generation now sees all that, and they think what is thick with this newer generation coming up is entitlement. They think they're entitled to have the best of everything at a young age. They're not willing to go out here and put their dues into society and work hard and climb a ladder to enhance their prospects in life. They want the best of the best now. And so what shocked me on this trip and what was said, so I know in your 20s, you turn 21, right? Now you can go to a bar and order a drink or whatever, right? It's a natural thing in life. But here my stepdaughter's talking about these bougie drinks that are like $20 because they got some kind of nectar in them from the Buddhist mountains or whatever she said. And she was like, and it's, I'll gladly pay $20 for that drink. And I'm going, huh? Meanwhile, she's got a clapped out old car with the front bumper like about to fall off at any given moment. And we've been trying to get her to like save up some money to get her a nicer car. And it looks like now she's not saving her money because she's buying these $20 bougie drinks. So I know back in my day, whenever I was in that age range, if the mission was to go have fun and get a good buzz, I mean, old Milwaukee worked. Mission accomplished. And woke up the next day with money still in our pockets. But this generation has no qualms about spending all their money on ridiculousness and then complain that they'll never be able to have a house. So it's not about wages to prices. It's about there's so many extras that grab their attention. And I get it, which brings me to my next point. Next point is, like, for those of you out there that's my age or older or whatever, we've gotten to the point to where, yes, we could treat ourselves, and notice I said treat ourselves to a Starbucks coffee if we're in a pinch and we don't have enough time to make coffee at home. Yeah, we could swing through Starbucks, grab a cup of coffee. But our children and that generation sees us do this, and then they think they're entitled to it as well. So then they get their first job, and what do they start spending their money on? Starbucks. They start spending their money at Qdoba or whatever, right? They're not taught to conserve their check, and how we stretch to be able to have what we have now is because we sacrificed in our years when we were their age, right? We sacrificed in our 18 to 25 to 30 even. We sacrificed then, said no to the extras and said no to the whatever, stacked that money aside. And now it's grown for us, and now we can do more things, and our salary is increased because we've done well at our jobs and moved up and started earning more. So I just want that if you're between 18 and 25 and you're thinking it's wages to prices of homes and prices of cars, it's not that. Yes, inflation is real, but if you're trying to compare to what someone did back in the 70s and 80s, they earned less. Nobody in the 70s and 80s got out of high school and made over $20 an hour. Not even close to $20 an hour. You're lucky to make 10, if that. But we made it work, right? And I think a lot of that is due to the time. I guess you could say we were lucky enough to have been born into a time to where there wasn't a lot of distractions, financial distractions that there are today. All of these new conveniences created distractions. And if to add to that, right, when in the 80s and 90s, when we graduated high school, we didn't have cell phone bills. We didn't have, I think in my day, the new thing was pagers, right? So pagers were a new technology, and they were like $3 a month for that. Because all it was doing was sending a signal to this little square device on your pocket. And then you in your leisure would go and return the phone call whenever you could. But we didn't have the expenses and the technology pulls that this generation has. So I'm saying it's two things. One is, yeah, it's not their fault that so much technology is available and a distraction, but also they need to lower their entitlement down, because they shouldn't feel entitled to just have the kind of house that maybe we have now, when they're, it's a slow crawl through life. And unless you're born with a silver spoon, or, you're the heir of a big business, you gotta pay your dues and learn to sacrifice and learn to put things back and say no to stuff. And when you say no to stuff, stop taking it as no forever. It's just a no for now. You can have nicer things. You can have the coffees. You can have the media stuff and the technology and stuff, but just have it at the right time. Have it when you've sacrificed, when you've put your money to work and let your money grow to where your money is paying you money instead of you paying extra money via interest rates to have things. I personally much rather have my money making me 3% interest in a bank account than me paying 6 to 7% interest just to have some fancy car that is some influencers showing off today. Because all they're going to do is trade that car in a month or two once their video clicks stall, and they're going to go get something else to regain the attention. Okay. And I'm filming this in my car in the driveway because my wife's working from home and my daughter's here's summer. She's my 6-year-old is in the house watching TV, and I just didn't want her to disturb the video. So I just came out and ran the car and get some AC and make this real quick. And lastly, I've wrote my second book called The Lies Keeping Us Broke. And I touch on some of the things that I've talked about today in in society that tricks us psychologically into overspending, and why we can't reach why it's harder to reach the financial goals that we want to reach. So anyway, this is available on Amazon. Pick up a copy. That would really help me out. And I intentionally made this book. It's not a big 500-page book because I know that attention in this society is hard. Like people don't have the time to sit down and read a 400-page book. And I don't put up a lot of fluff in there. So I kind of get to the chase on a lot of the things in society that keep us broke, and things within business that happen in business, and decisions that are made, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, thanks y'all. Hope this was helpful. God bless, and see you on the next one.